Hey guys, okay, so let's talk about wigs. So 825 is about styling wigs and the material of wigs and how wigs are made and so forth like this, okay? So we're going to do a little run well. So a wig is basically any kind of an artificial covering that covers the head consisting of interwoven hair, okay? So when wearing a wig, client's hair is completely concealed, so that's 100%. And basically, if a hair addition does not fully cover the head, then it's classified as a hair piece. Okay, so wig is going to be 100%. A hair piece is going to be basically 20 to 70% coverage of it. Okay, so human hair versus synthetic hair. What is the fastest way to tell if a strand or a product is real human hair? Well, one of the things is you can go ahead and just pull off a piece of it and you can burn it with a match. Now, if it gives off that kind of a smelly, distinct odor and starts to burn, that's pretty much human hair. But if it starts to kind of just shrivel up with no distinct odor, that's going to be synthetic hair, okay? So, the advantages and the disadvantages. Human hair looks more realistic, it is more durable, and you can style it. Synthetic hair, typically, it is what it is. Whatever you get is what it's going to have to be, because you can't use any kind of curling iron, flat irons, wands, or anything on that, because it'll burn the hair and it'll ruin it. Versus in human hair, you can. Now, disadvantages of human hair, it reacts to the climate in the same way. So, if you have human hair that is not straight and it can curl and so forth like this, and say you straighten it, when you go outside, it can frizz. It can lose the curl in humidity, or can frizz in humidity. Okay. Now, after shampooing, the hair needs to be reset every single time, and the color will oxidize, meaning that over time and going out in the sun, that color is going to fade. Okay, just like anything else, you cannot just maintain the color 100%. Where synthetic hair, it should not fade unless you're just leaving it in direct sunlight all the time. Now, the hair can break and split just like regular hair does. So at times, depending on the wig, you may have to trim it a little bit to make it nicer, or whatever you need to. Now, advantages of synthetic wigs. The technology has greatly improved. So synthetic wigs are basically a great value. They're less expensive than human hair, and most synthetic wigs are cut according to the latest style. So you can buy it already styled set and cut, so you don't have to do that. Now, the disadvantages, like I told you before, is you cannot put hot heat on there or you're going to ruin it. You can't really color it. That's not a great idea either. A lot of times it won't take the color. And synthetic wigs, you can tell them from a mile away because they're pretty much really shiny, where natural hair is not that shiny, okay? Now, quality of the wigs. Quality of wigs is very important. Typically, most people are trying to buy real human hair. The most expensive wigs are those made from human hair, and pricing varies, So if you have European hair is typically considered the top of the line hair, and virgin hair is the most costly. Now, hair from India and Asia are very, very common. They provide most of our human hair, and they are not quite as expensive as European hair. European hair is typically a lot more expensive. Now, human hair mixed with animal hair is, let's say that the animal hair that you have there is going to be Angora, horse, yak, or sheep hair. Yak hair is taken from the animal's belly. And the reason why is because it's a pure white. So its natural color itself is adding fantasy colors, and you can attract teenagers with it. So it's very easy to color, and so it's a really nice wig hair to go with. Types of wigs. You have what we call cap wigs, and then you have capless wigs. Cap wigs are typically constructed with an elastic mesh fiber base to which the hair is attached. Now, these are made of several sizes. They do require a fitting, and more often than not, cap wigs are hand cap wigs are hand knotted, okay? Whereas capless wigs, a little bit different. So the capless wigs are machine made. So just remember that cap wigs are typically handmade, whereas capless wigs are machine made. Now the human hair is woven through long strips, and these strips are called wefts. Okay, so that's how the capless wigs are actually made. Now, the methods of constructions, you have hand tied or hand knotted. These wigs are made by inserting individual strands into the hair into a mesh foundation and knotted with a needle. They look very realistic and natural, and they're easy to style. Now, if you have a machine-made wig, these are a least expensive option. These wigs are made by feeding wefts through a sew machine, and then they sew them together and base the shape of a wig. Okay, a block is a head-shaped form. Now this is what you see everybody, they basically put their wigs on it to help them set and reset, especially after they washed them. And they're usually like a cork, they're covered in canvas, styrofoam. And so they're really nice to have, especially if you're trying to color or you're trying to cut it or style it. Now, two methods used to prepare the hair for putting a wig are pin curls and hair wrapping. So remember that most clients come into the salon looking for a realistic, natural look. So a lot of times what's going to happen is they're going to actually just basically put all your hair in pin curls, or they can just wrap your hair around before they put the wig on. When you're going to cleanse a wig, use a gentle shampoo and then typically let it air dry. Don't try to dry it, just let it air dry, and then you can style it if it's real, or if it's not, just kind of, keep it brushed and straight and so forth. Now, a toupee is not a wig, but it is like a cap setting. Toupee is going to be a very small wig, and this goes over typically like right on top of the head, or a little bit up front, depending on where the bald spot is. You see a lot of men in the past would wear toupees, and so this would help them give more hair up top, which is where typically men lose their hair. And it's used to cover the crown, and it can be, I've had actually clients that have toupees that are women because they have alopecia on the crown of their head, and they just want to look very natural and pretty, so they try to color their hair the same type of color as the actual toupee is, okay? Or you could call it a wiglet if you wanted to call it a wiglet. So some people call them wiglets as well. But these coverings are, hair is very important to a lot of people. It makes everyone feel good about themselves. And so this is very emotional for a lot of people. So toupees are very nice to help them give that little extra hair that they need to make them feel very comfortable with themselves. And so they don't have, a high strain of anxiety and emotions outright by the loss of their hair. So guys, that is all we have with wigs. So thanks for listening, and hope you do well on your test. Make sure you do your theory and your vocab and study for the test. Okay, the info sheet should be in your Google Classroom.